The story of the Israelites and the Egyptians is one of the greatest demonstrations of God's power, faithfulness, and compassion in the Bible. It is a story of oppression and deliverance, of tears turned into triumph, and of a God who keeps his promises no matter how impossible the situation appears. The Israelites came to Egypt during a time of famine, when Joseph, one of Jacob's sons, had risen to power under Pharaoh by God's divine plan. Through Joseph, Egypt was preserved, and Jacob's family settled in the land of Goshen. Over time, the children of Israel multiplied greatly. They became numerous, strong, and prosperous. However, as generations passed, a new Pharaoh arose, who did not know Joseph or remember the good the Israelites had done for Egypt. This new Pharaoh became fearful of the Israelites because of their increasing numbers. He worried that if a war broke out, they might join Egypt's enemies and overpower the land. Driven by fear and pride, Pharaoh enslaved the Israelites and subjected them to harsh labor. They were forced to build cities, work the fields, and endure cruelty day after day. Yet, despite the oppression, the Israelites continued to multiply because God was with them. Pharaoh's heart grew harder, and he ordered that all Hebrew male babies be killed at birth. It was during this dark time that a child named Moses was born. His mother hid him for 3 months and then placed him in a basket along the Nile River. By God's providence, Pharaoh's daughter found the baby and raised him as her own, unknowingly employing Moses' biological mother to nurse him. Thus, Moses grew up in the palace, educated in all the wisdom of Egypt, yet deeply aware of his Hebrew identity. Years later, after Moses killed an Egyptian who was beating a Hebrew slave, he fled to the land of Midian. There, God prepared him in the wilderness as a shepherd. One day, God appeared to Moses in a burning bush that was not consumed. God revealed his holy name and told Moses that he had heard the cries of his people in Egypt. He commissioned Moses to return to Pharaoh and demand the release of the Israelites. Moses was afraid and felt inadequate, but God reassured him, saying, "I will be with you." God sent Moses along with his brother Aaron to Pharaoh with a clear command, "Let my people go." Pharaoh refused, his heart hardened by pride and power. As a result, God sent a series of 10 devastating plagues upon Egypt to demonstrate his supremacy over Pharaoh and the false gods of Egypt. The plagues included water turning to blood, frogs, lice, flies, the death of livestock, boils, hail, locusts, darkness, and finally the death of the firstborn. Each plague showed that the God of Israel was sovereign over nature, life, and death. While Egypt suffered greatly, God protected the Israelites in Goshen, making a clear distinction between his people and their oppressors. The final plague was the most severe. God instructed the Israelites to sacrifice a lamb and place its blood on the doorposts of their homes. When the angel of death passed through Egypt, he would pass over the houses marked by the blood. That night, there was a great cry throughout Egypt, for every firstborn in the land died, including Pharaoh's own son. Broken and humbled, Pharaoh finally allowed the Israelites to leave Egypt. The Israelites departed in haste, carrying their belongings and the spoils given to them by the Egyptians. God led them by a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. However, Pharaoh soon regretted his decision and pursued them with his army. The Israelites found themselves trapped between the Red Sea and the advancing Egyptian forces. Fear filled the hearts of the people, but God instructed Moses to stretch out his staff over the sea. By God's mighty power, the Red Sea parted, and the Israelites crossed on dry ground. When the Egyptian army followed, the waters returned, drowning Pharaoh's forces and completely delivering Israel from their enemies. On the other side of the sea, the Israelites sang songs of praise to God. Their bondage had ended, and their journey to the Promised Land had begun. This miraculous deliverance revealed that God is a redeemer who hears the cries of his people, breaks chains of oppression, and makes a way where there seems to be none. The story of the Exodus is not only history, it is a message of hope. It reminds believers that no matter how long the night may seem, God's deliverance will surely come. He is faithful to his promises, mighty to save, and present in every struggle. Just as he brought Israel out of Egypt, he is still able to bring his people out of bondage today.